Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Michael and today I'm going to be sharing you my recipe on how I make these really soft rolls. You can use these for hamburger buns, sandwich rolls. You can use them for breakfast if you want to make an egg and sausage kind of a thing going on there. They are really easy to make. Stay with me and I'll show you how these are made. Let's get started making our soft rolls. So what we're going to start with today, I don't know if you're like me and you've looked at a lot of the ingredients that are on a lot of the bags of the buns and rolls and things that you see in the store, and there's just a lot of preservatives and a lot of things in them. So if you're looking to get back to more basic type of cooking and eating, then this recipe is for you. So a lot of the breads and things in the store has milk in them, and I don't know if you're have noticed a lot of that. A lot of people might be lactose intolerant where they can't eat those, so this is definitely an option for you. And if you're one of my viewers that's vegan, this is definitely an option for you also, because this is all plant-based in this. So let's get started with the ingredients. So I have bread flour. I've got 500 grams. And with my flour, I always weigh out, try to, when I'm making my bread. So I've got 500 grams of bread flour, or about 17.5 ounces if you're using the imperial weights. Or if you're using the cups, it's 4 3/4 cup. If you do use the cup measurement, check out the other video that I've got linked in the bio here in the description and show you how I measure out the flour for when I'm using cups and things. So definitely check that out. But I do have one of these scales that I use, and I really like this thing. It does both metric and imperial measurements on those. So I'll leave the link of that also in the description. You can check that out. I'll put an affiliate link of all the equipment that I've used today in that, so you can check that out and see if that's anything you'd be interested in. So we talked about the bread flour. Make sure it's bread flour on that. And then we've got water. I've got 310 grams of water, or 11 ounces, or 1 1/2 cups. So it's just a little short of the half. So it's 1 and just a scant short of the 1/2 cup of water. And you want the water to be between 100 and 110, because we're going to use that to activate the yeast. If you get it hotter than 110, it will kill the yeast. So you definitely want to check that. And I use one of these digital thermometers, and I just check it, and it's showing it at 104 right now. So I'm going to go ahead and test my yeast to make sure that it is working. And I'm just using a Fleischmann's Active Yeast today. If you don't have this kind and you've got the little packages have 2 1/4 teaspoons in that, so you could definitely use that. But I'm going to use this because this is what I've got on hand today, because I make a lot of bread. So I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of the yeast in this water. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a stir. And I'm going to set it to the side, and I'm going to work on my dry ingredients. So we're going to check this in about 5 minutes to see how it's doing, because we definitely want to make sure that our yeast is good. You'd hate to make the bread and get all the way to the end and find out that it didn't rise because the yeast was dead. So definitely check that out. I've got 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. You can use, I've just got just regular vegetable oil here. And I've got 1 teaspoon of salt. One thing you don't want to do is when you're proofing your yeast is you don't want to put the salt in it, because it don't like salt when it's trying to proof like that. So this goes with the dry ingredients when you're mixing that together. So if you want to make it give a little bit something to eat, you can give it a little bit of sugar, but I'm not going to put the sugar in it today. But you can put just a little bit of sugar in that, and the yeast loves the sugar, so you could put just a little bit in there if you want to make sure that it is working pretty good. So what we're going to do, I've got my stand mixer set up here with my bread hook on it, and I'm going to take my the bread flour that I've got measured out, and I'm going to put in my salt. And that's going to give that a good little mix together while we're waiting on the yeast to bloom. I am back, and the yeast did bloom, so I've got some good yeast here in my cup. And I'm going to go ahead and add my oil that I've got in here. So I've got 1 tablespoon of oil. We're going to add that right into the yeast mixture. All right. Give that a little bit of a stir. And I'm going to put that in my stand mixer. Now we're going to take our flour, and I'm going to incorporate it slowly into it. So we're going to give that a good stir through. And once we get that mixed together, then at that point, we will knead it for 10 minutes. If you don't have a stand mixer like this one, you can definitely do it by hand, but you still want to knead it for 10 minutes. So now let's start putting our flour in. I'm going to start it out on low because I don't want the flour to fly up on me. So I've got it on like step 2 of this, and we're going to slowly add the flour in. All right, we have our flour in our stand mixer now, and I'm going to let that mix and come together. And once it comes together, I'll set my timer for 10 minutes, and we'll see you back in 10 minutes when it's put together. I am back. It's been 10 minutes, and I'm going to turn off my stand mixer now and check on my dough. And we'll go ahead and take that out and remove the dough hook off of that. And you shouldn't need any flour on your surface. I'm going to take it out, put it on this mat. And what I want to do now is I want to form it into a ball. So we're just going to kind of knead it just a little bit until we can get it into the shape that we need it in. It's a relatively dry dough, so you're not going to need any flour on the board. So I've got a fairly large bowl here that I'm going to put just a little bit more oil in it. I put some in it while I was mixing it, but I wanted to show you what I do. Just put a little bit in the bottom of it. You don't have to use a lot. And then use your hand. And you want to go around and get a lot of it on the sides. I'm going to take just a little bit out of the bottom. All right, so I've got my bowl with a little bit of oil in it. Now I'm going to put the dough in the bowl, and I want to turn it over a couple of times so that the dough gets covered on all sides with oil. So now we've got our dough in a bowl, and I've got some cling film, and I'm going to put some on the top of the bowl. There we go. Now I'm going to put this in a warm place for an hour. It needs to double in size, or roughly double in size. So I'm going to put mine in the microwave. Of course, the microwave's not on, but that's one of the places that I've got that's fairly warm and consistent. So I'm going to put this in the microwave and leave it in there for it to rise for 1 hour, but you can use your stove. You can do that also. Just, make sure that it's off, and put it someplace that it can rise for 1 hour. And I'll see you back once we get through with the rising. I am back. It's been 1 hour, and as you can see here, my dough has risen, doubled in size. So I'm going to take the cellophane off the top and let you see what it looks like. All right, so there's my dough after it's risen for an hour. So I'm going to take that out and I'm going to weigh it, because we need to. I'm going to divide this into 8 equal parts. So I've got my scale here again, and I'm going to put a plate on it, and I'm going to zero it back out, and I'm going to take it out of here. As you can see, it comes out of this very easily with where I put that grease on it earlier, and it's showing 814 grams. So that's roughly 100 grams, a little over 100 per piece. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide this up, and then we're going to measure them out, and I'm going to get 8 equal pieces of my dough here. All right, I have weighed everything out. I've got 8 equal pieces. You don't have to get to that level with it, but I just wanted them all to be uniform. So I've got 8 pieces here, and now I'm going to roll them into a ball and show you how we're going to do that. So you're going to take the piece, and you're going to cup it in your hand and just kind of roll it around just a little bit to get it started. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to kind of turn it in on itself. You can see here I got it on the back of my hand. I got the smooth part on the back of my hand, and I'm kind of pulling it in on itself here. And then I'm going to take it back and I'm going to roll it around on this mat that I've got here. and we're going to make these little balls here. So let me do it just a little bit more on this one to get it where I want it. All right, so there's one. I'm going to do the other ones, and then we'll be back and I'll show you what's going to happen next. I have my dough now divided out into equal pieces, and I've shaped them all into little balls, as you see here. And I have let them sit out on the counter for 10 minutes, and that's just kind of let them relax so that we can get on to the next rising part of it. So what I'm going to do is I've got some baking trays here with some Silpat mats in them, and I've got those here. And these are going to rise quite a bit, so I'm only going to put 4 on a tray. So what you want to do is you just want to kind of push it out a little bit. And the reason you wanted to let it relax so that it can retain the shape that it's in now. So I'm going to do that with these, and we're going to load these 2 trays down, and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. All right, so I've got them on the tray here, and I'm going to take a clean towel that I've got, and I'm just going to drape this over the top of them, and I'm going to put them, this time I'm going to put them in the oven, and I'm just going to let them sit in the oven, and they need to come back to another rise again for another hour. So I'm going to put these back in the oven, let them rise one more time, and then I'll show you what happens next. All right, stay tuned. I am back. It's been an hour, and I wanted to show you the buns that I've got here. Right now there's the one tray of 4, and then I've got the other tray here. Let me just put them like this on the counter so you can see them. So I've got both of them that have risen really well. I'm going to put these in my preheated oven now. It's on 350. And about 5 minutes into the cooking, I'm going to take them out and turn them around. My oven has convection on it, but I still want to turn them around. It seems like it cooks on the backside a little bit faster than on the front. So you know your oven better than I do. So keep a watch on them. We're going to put them, like I said, on 350. And I'm going to keep a watch on mine about 15 minutes to see about when they get done. My oven doesn't cook as fast, so it might take 20 minutes. So I'll let you know what mine turns out to be, but we'll start out at 350. Again, about 5 minutes into the process, I'll turn the bread around because one side of my oven cooks faster than the other. And then we will be back with you and show you how these look. I'm back. I've got the rolls here, and I just pulled them out of the oven and put them on this rack. I'm going to leave them on this rack for about 30 minutes so they can continue to cool down. You do want some airflow to get under them, so if you've got something that you can set them on so that they can get some air in them, because if you don't, they get a little wet on the bottom. So definitely set them on up something so that the air can get blown so they can cool off. So as you can see here, they've got a nice color to them, and can't believe how soft they are. Just look how soft, and you really can't compare that to a store-bought roll. So give these a try. They're really easy to make. I'd love to hear from you in the description box below how these turned out for you. And if you like this video, check out one of these other ones over here, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the future. So share this video, like, and subscribe. Thanks, and have a good one.